Love myself for a while. I'm saying things I don't believe. The panic's rising up in me. You, won't you tell me something new? Don't you think for the people that pass me by, pack my stuff and leave sooner than this? Don't you think for the people that pass me by, pack my stuff and leave sooner than this? Don't you wish I would've been someone else? I wanna feel your gap without making a mess. And you, won't you tell me something new? I wanna tell you something new. You told us to leave sooner than walls. I tried to leave sooner than that, and I contemplate for a while. Don't you think for the people that pass me by, pack my stuff and leave sooner than that?
Okay, and welcome to this video. Welcome everybody to Takano. My name is Petra Verbruggen, and let me get rid of that echoey thing there. Welcome indeed. Today is a little bit different. I thought about doing the NDI episode today. I know that I've done that before just a few months ago, but as you might have noticed, I am actually really heavily going towards the NDI setup in my studio, but also for on location work. And what I'm doing now, and this is one of the reasons why I'm actually making it a little bit later, is that I want to create a document for you guys so that you can see how you can use NDI on location or in your own studio, and just give you some indications on what the best course of action is, how to do it, and that kind of stuff. So that is what we're gonna do. Before I start, I want to say hi to some people. I see my dad is in the house. He says, "Hey, young lady." I said, "Hey, my very cool dad." And also welcome to Rudy, who is all the way from Belgium. We're gonna do something really cool today. We're gonna talk about SRT, and SRT is something that is not new, but it's the first time that I'm talking about it. So let's get things started. And since New York is also here, we can really start. My name is Petra Verbruggen, and if you want to support this show, then that is definitely possible. You know how to do that? Well, I'm going to tell you in a few seconds, because it will be printed right here. Support Takano on takano.net. There you can support, and then you will find different ways of supporting the show. Like I said, we're going to talk about NDI next week, not this week. We're going to talk about SRT this week, secure reliable transport, and how it is something that you might want to have in your production system. First and foremost, what is SRT and how does it relate to NDI? How does it relate to, vMix call? Well, it is quite a different beast. So let's talk about, well, maybe talk about LRT as well, live view reliable transport, because there is some, I would say, connectivity there. So let's talk about it. First and foremost, what is it not? So NDI is a protocol where you can have a video encoder transmitting video content across IP. So not via HDMI, not via SDI, but via your Ethernet cable. So that is NDI. So NDI is for network. That is what it is for, and it is mostly for network that is local to you. So it's basically in your own network bubble, so to speak. There are options to have NDI across bubbles, network bubbles. You can have something in between. However, that does mean that you have a different protocol. And the way to do that is, for instance, SRT. So SRT stands for Secure Reliable Transport, and it is a consortium, so it's a new, rather new communication protocol. And actually last year, 2019, was the year that SRT really took off, especially during IBC 2019. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we will not have IBC 2020 this year, like also NAB was not there this year, and probably also not in New York later this year. That's my bet. But that is when last year when SRT really took off, and a lot of people came on the bandwagon, we are going to do SRT. But before I do that, I want to make sure that you understand what SRT is and what it isn't. So what is it? Well, let's start with what it isn't. So if you know vMix call is a way to have a connection with a laptop somewhere else with a webcam, and somebody can bring in a interview from another location in vMix. And the cool part is that it actually is both ways. So you will get from this laptop, you can go to the studio, and my voice is coming back to that person, but without his own voice. That's what they call mix minus. That is really cool. That is vMix call, and it's really good at that. But there is some delay, and the quality is, even though it's very good, it's not perfect. So in case you want to have a reliable transport, so good quality, robust, reliable, and the reason why I'm a bit like emphasizing it, because you also know LiveView, they have LRT, and basically what they also do is they want to have a reliable transport, and SRT is definitely not the same thing. Please be aware of that. LRT is LiveView, reliable transport. It's really about bonding more than one Ethernet source, so maybe 1, 2, 3 SIM cards plus Ethernet plus Wi-Fi. That's LRT, and LRT will do some cool stuff where it will adapt the resolution depending on the amount of bandwidth that you have at your disposal. SRT is different. SRT is like a point-to-point connection. Well, it is a point-to-point connection, to be honest. And what you can do is that you can set the delay, or the delay, so that you have a good connection. So as long as your delay is longer than you strictly need to have all the packages successfully connected, then you are good to go. So that was last year they started, and Rudy says don't mention RBC please, so I'm going to mention it one more time. IBC, I know Rudy, I mean I saw you last year at IBC. I really loved seeing you in real life. However, I came across a email today or yesterday, and it seems that it's not going to happen this year. So unfortunately, because of COVID-19, they're not going to do it. And I think an inside, even though I would be there, to be honest, I think it's better to not do it this time and then wait for it, and maybe next year then do it again, because I am looking forward to it, definitely. All right, SRT. So what we're going to do is I have here my trustworthy Omen. Stuart. Oh, wrong one. Stuart from New York. You know, you're my Omen brother. We need to talk because here I have my laptop. This is a very nice laptop. It actually runs vMix quite well, and I have it on a 4G modem at the moment, so it's not connected to my Ethernet. I have to check that sometimes because of the Ethernet is in this studio a little bit less because of the coil Faraday or Faraday's, I don't know, fence, whatever. But I see it is working, so that is good stuff. So I can actually now show you how it works from a computer here in the Netherlands, which is my system that I bring on the whole show. So you will see the whole show now, the whole vMix environment. And then I will bring it to this laptop, which has a clean slate. And I will show you how we can, from my studio, which is it would be the listener. So it listens for a connection. And this will be, this laptop right here will be the caller. That's what we're going to do. And I will walk you through one by one how to do it. So are you ready to rock and roll? Let's start. So let's show you my screen. In order to do that, I will go to the right. There you go. So let's go into settings. So on the top right hand side, you'll see settings right here. And Faraday's cage. Thank you, Stuart. Then you will have here output NDI SRT, which is the second tab on the left. Go ahead and click that. And now I do have the vMix Pro license, but even if you have the vMix HD license, you will see this option. But there might be only one output and not 4 of them like I have right here. Now let's go all the way to this side, to this cogwheel. Now that being said, the NDI doesn't have to be switched on. This is just my setup. I love NDI, like I said before. But I am using NDI in this studio quite a lot, but at the moment we're interested in the cogwheel. So click on the cogwheel, and this will bring up the output settings. And let's put it right here in the center. Now I have it switched on to bus A, but typically what you'll see is that the audio is switched to master, which is the program output that you can use. And then you'll see here a button that says enable SRT. Go ahead and click it, so it's enabled. And here you'll see caller, listener, rendezvous. Let's go through the types. So SRT type caller means that this computer is calling whatever host name you have here. Oh, that's not gonna be. So this caller, this computer will be calling this system at this port. That is what it means. So it's calling something else. Removing that for now. Rendezvous. Well, no, let's start with listener. So listener is actually listening to a system, another system, not this system that's in the studio, but another system. So the SRT connection needs to be established from the other system to this system. I hope that makes sense. Then you have rendezvous, and here you again fill in the other system. Like, I don't know, I'm just doing something, I don't care. So this means that you have to do that on both sides. So on this side and on the other side, you have to put in the other IP address. The IP address of this machine needs to be set on this machine, on this laptop right here, if that makes sense. The only thing is, and that's the reason why I'm not sure, well, no, this is specifically interested for people that do not know exactly how the firewalls are connected to each other. So this allows you to have an additional possibility to get the connection going. That being said, for me, it seems not to work that great. So, but that might be something that is in my own environment. So what I typically do is that I put this on listener. And then you have here a port. Now the port is default on 10,000, but in my particular situation, I have to change it to 10,100. The reason for that is that in order to make this happen, you will have to go into your router and have port forwarding on from the outside world to your system here. So you have to verify on your system what your IP address is, your internal IP address. In this case, it ends with 46. I know that on top of my head. And you have to then you have to set that port to that system. So you have to open the port in your firewall, and then you need to use port forwarding to have 10,100 or 10,100 to be connected to that IP address. Then you have to select which kind of quality that you need. I personally love HEVC. Why? Even though it has more CPU load, it does need less bandwidth to be as good as H.264. HEVC is the same as H.265. So let's go ahead and put HEVC 4 megabits. So HEVC 4 megabits per second is actually the same as H.264 8 megabits per second. That's interesting. So let's click on that. So now we have started up the surface of getting SRT enabled on the system. Click on OK and done. Now you can switch on or switch off by going to external, down below, and then go to SRT, and then you can enable it or disable it right here. And that is possible right there. Now that is out of the way, let's just do a quick recap of what we saw. So SRT is a point-to-point connection, and what we've done now is that we created a listener right here. This is my computer here in Taekwondo Studios, and we need to have a separate computer that's going to be a caller, and it will call this computer. However, this computer has an internal IP address. So in order for this computer right here to know what that IP address is, you need to actually not give it the internal IP address, but the external IP address. And in order to get that external IP address, you need to enter the IP address in, for instance, who am I? That's who am I? Let me check what the name is. Or has a median, who am I? You can also use. So that looks like this. I don't want to show you my external IP address, but it looks roughly like something went wrong. Help! It looks like this, and then it will show the IP address. Well, it's already on screen, so I don't care now. So this is my IP address externally, 84.30.244.69. All right. Well, if you want to do some cool stuff, then that's my IP address. Now let's go back. So now we know what this IP address of this listener is from the outside world. Again, I have here a router, which is an American router. So people from the States know this logo right here. That logo right there. That's AT&T. So this is a real, genuine AT&T modem right here. So it is actually connected to America. So how good do we want to have it, right? Okay, that being said, let's go. Let's talk about how to connect to it. So I have actually already started up a team viewer session with my computer here, and let's show that to you. So now I'm going to go to this computer that I have in front of me right here. and I am going to connect to that system. Now I did already create an IP address text file so that I'm aware of it. So I can actually just simply copy it now. This is the IP address right here. Control C. And now what I need to do is the following. I have to go to left down add input. Click on that. Then go to the sixth tab on the left called Stream SRT right there. And oh, it's already there. So then modify the stream type to SRT caller right here. And then fill in the host name and port number. I did that already here, so I'm just going to change that. And it starts with 200 milliseconds. That is the default, and I didn't pick that up earlier, but that is the default. But it will work. Oh, let's get rid of the audio here. So now you're actually looking at the system, at the how to say that, the system in the States, and it actually has that connectivity. So that is now taken care of, and I actually see myself now on the laptop. The only thing is that because of the fact that it's going via TeamViewer, it looks choppy, but I can say that on the system itself, it looks really, really good, but not good enough. I do see some MPEG things going on. If I be very fast with my hands, I do see some issues there. That is because 200 milliseconds is really, really fast, and if you have a very, very good connection, then that might be enough. But I do not have that. So in order to make that better, I have to go back to this screen, and I then need to check. Let me go here. Yeah, so now what I need to do now is that I need to go and remove this one, say close. Oh no, I forgot something. Let me go one back. I'm doing the same thing. I'm not changing anything, just go back to this without the audio then. What I forgot to say is that I needed to press on the performance indicator, which is the red, yellow, and green bar on the left hand side. Click on that, and then you'll see the statistics tab. And if you go to SRT, you will then see on the far right, you'll see RTT in milliseconds. RTT is short for round trip time. And now you see it's 365. So rule of thumb is that you should at least take 2 times the amount that you find in the round trip time and then put that into the delay. So 350, let's just take that one. That would be about 700 milliseconds. And you do see some changes here, some errors. So then you need to close this one. Then go to add input. Then go to SRT. Click on the one that you just added, and then change this the amount of milliseconds to, well, let's make it 750, just to give a little bit more. 750 milliseconds. Then click on OK, and then you should have a very stable setup. So there you have it. That is the way that you have an SRT connection from the listener in the studio and to the caller. So the caller can pick up the whole application. So you just also heard that it also has the audio in there as well. So that is SRT, a point-to-point connection, and that's, I think, really, really interesting because the use cases are a lot. So if you have, for instance, a church worship service that you want to put into a main mix, you can use SRT to make sure that you have a very good connection. And 700 milliseconds, it's not even a second, so it's really, really fast. Then you can also use it to bring in other what we also do here is that if we have a multitude of locations where we have a production, I can also bring it here into the studio with SRT or with vMix Call. vMix Call is still a good possibility as well, but if you really want to have quality and you don't need to have a round trip that both ways, then SRT is more stable than vMix is, definitely. Hey Kathleen, what's going on? She says, I'm late to the party. Thankfully, I catch the replay later. Yes, you can, absolutely. And my dad is saying hi to you. That is fantastic. Yes, indeed. I hope that my dad is also well. I did see him right before this show, so I know he's fine. And I'm really pleased that he is fine as well. So there you have it, a full-on SRT connection between two systems, one, okay, more or less in the States, and one here in the Netherlands. And it worked perfectly. I can actually see it's working perfectly. I don't see any troubles that I did see before, so this is now much more stable than it used to be. But it is via SRT, so it is not via NDI. So again, NDI works perfectly within your network, but it falls short if you want to go across networks like I do right now. So then it falls short. So a combination of NDI and SRT is really interesting. And that is where, for instance, my friends at Burdock also do stuff in that option. So they have a possibility to remotely control their Burdock devices somewhere in the world from another part of the world because of SRT and other remote connections. Really cool, really, really cool that they can do that. So next week we're going to talk about NDI, and I already talked about a little bit about Burdock, and we will be revisiting it because next week I will have a full-on NDI studio here. I want to take you with me in the reasoning why it is so important for me to go NDI. And I can tell you a little bit why, because it's really flexible. And I'm going to tell you exactly why next week. If you're interested in talking about NDI and SRT and having some documentation on these topics, please let me know. Say yes in the comments, because I am considering to create a small how-to document how to do this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I really, again, really appreciate you for taking your time on the Monday morning, or if you live in Australia or New Zealand, your Tuesday morning. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.